Hi, Martin here. Today we're going to work on trying to solve the problem on this 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee with the 4.7 liter engine. I bought this some time ago and haven't got around to actually working on it. Bought it from someone in Las Vegas. He's a subscriber to the channel, contacted me telling me about the problem he's got with this Jeep. And it runs great for around 7 to maybe 30 minutes. And then it just dies like you turn the key off. And he tells me about this, and the first thing that comes to mind is a crankshaft position sensor. And, well, he said, I already changed that. Then the camshaft position sensor. Nope, changed that too. Now, neither one of those codes came up. As a matter of fact, the code that did come up was something to do with the transmission. And I believe that's unrelated though. Now, other things that have already been changed on this vehicle. Well, he went to the extreme to having the ECM or ECU changed out. And when you do that, especially if you send it to one of these companies, they reflash it, do whatever, repair the ECM and the SKIM. Okay, your SKIM is what it is doing is reading the chip inside that key. If it doesn't have that, it's thinking that you're trying to steal the vehicle, and it's only going to start and then immediately shut off. So for whatever reason, when you send your ECM to these companies, they disable the SKIM. So if you ever do that, do not plug the SKIM back in. Make sure you unplug it before reinstalling their reprogrammed ECU. Okay? So he did that as well, replaced it. The SKIM is unplugged. And what you do is get a security code on your dash, and that's going to be there forever. But still, the problem existed. It still acted exactly the same. Now, some of the other parts he changed out, all the way from a battery, alternator, radiator, water pump, throttle position control, idle air control. What else was there? There was a list of parts he switched out. Now, he probably spent $2,000 trying to find that problem and never did. Now, I also switched out some of those same parts, ones that I knew were good. They're used parts, but I know they're good. Thinking maybe the new parts were bad. Still, the same problem existed. So, got off work early yesterday, went down to pick a part, and I lucked out. They just got a new line of Grand Cherokees in there. And the great thing was, they had a bunch of them with the keys still in them. And that's the one thing you're going to need if you're going to want one of the old ECMs out of there, right? Because without that key, the ECM is really useless. So if you do go down there, what you're going to need, you want the key. You're going to have to take the lock cylinder. And you may want to take the door locks with you too. That way you got one key that opens the door. The SKIM, and then the ECM, or ECU. So they had a bunch of vehicles down there with, I've never seen so many with keys in them before. So I went a little crazy. And I picked up three computers, the matching SKIM and key locks. And I also went ahead and grabbed a transmission control unit from an 04 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And if you see my videos before, if you got one of the older Jeep Grand Cherokees, Durangos, or Dakotas, where you had a 4-speed automatic transmission, you can easily convert it to a 5-speed just by changing this. Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? add another gear for just by changing the control unit. Well, anyway, like I say, I got 3 of them. I got 2 I found out of a 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee, just like this one. And of course you want to grab one that's equipped with the exact same engine. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And then I went ahead and I did find one out of an 04 Jeep Grand Cherokee. I went ahead and grabbed it because I got an 04 just in case. I think it's cheap insurance. Oh, by the way, this was $41 plus tax, $6 for the SKIM. Pretty good deal. And I think, what was it for the key and lock? I don't recall, but it wasn't much. So for around, you know, $55 to under $60, I got the entire thing. And I went ahead and got the warranty with it, which is another 10% of the cost of the item. And that's a 30-day warranty. And they don't care what is wrong with it or isn't wrong with it. I've asked them before, and he goes, I don't care if you don't like the smell of it. You can return it. So pretty much that covers everything, right? They don't care. So grabbing the extras, if I want to, I could just return these, get my money back, other than I lose the warranty price. All right, so what I'm thinking is there's still a problem with the ECM. I don't know what else would shut this vehicle off after a few minutes. You know, I mean, it runs great, and then it just dies if you turn the key off. And it will not restart for at least 15 minutes and more like an hour plus. And it'll finally restart and go through the whole cycle again. It's just kind of what's telling me that there's something wrong with the ECM, or something that's telling it to shut off. It's quite a mystery to me. I got no codes, by the way. All right, well, let's get started and change out that ECM. All right, the first thing we want to do is disconnect the negative side of the battery. You can do both sides if you like. Disconnect the negative side first, and then in reverse when you're putting it back on. Positive first, then negative. All right, next we'll remove the radiator reservoir. There's a connector on here. Push the small clip on the top, pull that off. Pull that out and set that aside. Make sure you set it right side up. That way it won't drain the antifreeze out of it. Let's take care of the transmission control unit next. There's also a connector on top of the accumulator of your air conditioning. Disconnect that. All right. There's 3 bolts. No, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 bolts that hold that in place. Another 10 mil right down here. And there's one way down here. You definitely want an extension, actually longer than this one. Oh, actually, that one wasn't installed. I must have forgot that one. My bad. Alright, let's see if we can get this out of here. Yeah, there'd be another bolt right there. And we can just set that out of the way too. We don't need to disconnect that connector on there. All right, there are 2 bolts right here, and then one underneath the fender well here. You'll have to access that from outside, underneath, just above the tire. So we got that one. And while I'm here, now your connectors will probably be fastened, these right here will fasten to this here. That one should be there. The other one should be right located here. You can pull those off. And there's also a tie wrap. Yeah, if you see this tie wrap right here, you're going to end up having to cut that one. So you can get all those you get these connectors exposed now. To remove these, there's clips on the top and bottom, or on the top. You press them to pull these off. I see this clip here is actually broke. Press this one. There we go. That one there looks like it's broke too. I think it is. Yeah. All right, I just checked. When he reinstalled this, he did not put that bolt in on the bottom. All right, so I can see right here it does say ACR remanufactured unit 1115/22. They painted it anyway. Okay, well, let's get the other one installed and see what happens with this. One of the ones I got out of Pick-A-Part. This one also has been remanufactured by Chrysler Corporation. I can see they got some number up here wrote on here. This number here, that's from the Pick-A-Part for the warranty. And you can see right here, it says security seal, do not tamper. That would void the warranty if you broke that seal. And then I wrote on there the double O, that indicating which vehicle I got this out of, which I wrote also on the SKIM and on the cylinder lock. Keep everything in order. So hopefully we got a good one here. We'll get that put back in. You line up the bottom pin down there so it goes through the fender well for that bolt down there, which we are going to return that nut. Okay, looks pretty good now. And return the transmission control unit. There we go. Okay. Okay, this time I'm going to get that bolt put back in there. Whoops. This one is the harness for the TCM really gets in the way on this bolt. Alright, now at this point we can go ahead and return the radiator reservoir. Remember, we still got to change out the SKIM and the key cylinder lock. And do not hook up the battery before you do that. Plug that back in. Got to get one more bolt. Okay, under the dash here, I've already removed some stuff, but I'm going to show you how to put it all back together, so that'll tell you how to get it off, hopefully. And the reason I already had removed this stuff is I had a theory that maybe the ignition switch itself was bad. So I replaced that. No, the problem still existed. And I also found a old Viper car alarm in here. Thought, you know, may as well remove it. I don't have the key fob for it, and possibly it had something to do with it. And no, it did not. So I just left this all apart, hoping we're going to change out the SKIM right there. You can see it there with a white sticker on it. it takes a T15. There's one screw on it, and there's a couple clips on the side. I'll show you how to release those. Now you can see here they got the SKIM unplugged, which is what they would have had done with that remanufactured unit. So if you got a remanufactured one that you're installing, unplug this first. Otherwise you're going to have problems. It'll mess up your new computer. Okay, there's one T15 screw right there. I forget what size Allen screw or Allen wrench it is. Will also work to get those out of there. Okay, so that's going to slide that way, but there's two clips holding it on. I think at this point, okay, we need to also remove this upper piece of plastic right up here. This one. Let's see. Or is it already? Okay, that one, yeah, has to come off. And then this piece of plastic right here is what needs to remove. Okay, yeah, the T20, there's one here located and another one right there. So remove those two screws. By the way, this vehicle only has 110,000 miles on it. Actually a little shy of the 110. One of the reasons I really want to get it running, I mean, it doesn't have very many miles. Okay, the hardest part is probably unfastening the two clips. There's one on each side, and this one's kind of hard to see, and for you it's really hard to see. There, I got one of them unfastened now. It's one of those, you just kind of got to lift it up. Okay, there we go. Looks like to make it easier to pull that out, disconnect the connector for the wipers here. So the two clips I was talking about are right there. You got to lift those up a little bit and you can take that out. Okay, I want to set that aside. I don't want to mix that up. Now let's get the key out, the key cylinder, so we can change that out. Now you do need, of course, the original key to turn. You're going to put it in the on position. There's a small little button right underneath here. I know I'm not showing you that very well right now. Very unlike myself. Okay, see if I can even find it. So when it's in the on position, you're able to push it in. And now that should release, there we go, release the cylinder. And out it comes. Now I got my new one here on position. Slide that in. There, you heard it click. And pull the key out. Okay, we got that part done. Take your SKIM that matches the ECM, or PCM, ECU, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to slide that in there. There. We're going to return that one screw and plug it back in. Go ahead and plug any other connectors back in that you had to unplug. Get that one screw back in there with the T15 Torx. Yeah, T15 Torx. Okay. At this point, we can plug this connector back in. Battery's still disconnected. Everything should be good. Now, we're at the point we're going to hook the battery back up and test this. Alright, let's get the battery hooked back up. I can hear the disc CD changer doing some weird stuff back there. This car has got more than just this problem with the ECM, or whatever is causing it to fail. We're going to find, first got to get this thing running correctly, and then we'll worry about those other problems. Alright, here we go. I'm going to fire this up. I'm going to start a stopwatch as well to see how long it will run. Hopefully it'll just keep running. Okay, so far so good. It started with that ECM and the key and the SKIM. Everything's good right there. So far so good. Just over 4 minutes so far. I was having problems right at 6 minutes. That seemed to happen quite often. Sometimes it'll go longer. We'll find out. Well, we've gone over 7 minutes so far. Still running good. Now I did notice the service engine light did come on. If this keeps on running, we'll check to see what that code is in a little bit. And we're at over 13 minutes now. Well, people, we are close to 22 minutes right now. This is looking really good. But before, I was doing this recently. It was right at 6 to 7 minutes. And like I said, I got a code. We're going to shut the engine off and find out what that code is. But that engine sounds great. It's got my antique Harbor Freight code reader here. Yeah. Well, it says there's 3 codes found. Okay, so we got a P0152. That is a O2 sensor circuit high voltage bank 2 sensor 1. So that's going to be your passenger side, the very first O2 sensor. And then let's see, what's the next one? And then bank 1 sensor 1. O2 sensor bank 1 sensor 2. So everything is related to the O2 sensors. So that could be simply just having to replace those. But it's not keeping this engine from running right now, that's for sure. I'll have to check. I thought he had changed those as well. And but I believe we got the problem fixed. My bad. I'm going to go ahead and clear those codes. Come down here, hit erase codes, hit enter. Yeah, I want to erase them. And it's done. Okay. Now I do have an ABS light that's on all the time. So that's another issue. I think this window doesn't roll up and down, but it's a regulator issue. The dome lights don't work. There are some electrical problems with this. And I noticed on the overhead display, if the door is open, it does not show that the door is open on the overhead display, but it does show the passenger side. Could be a wiring issue in here somewhere. So there are other things with this, but I am tickled pleased that this thing is running now. I think I'm gonna put it back together. I said I was going to show you that. I'll go ahead and get the bezel down here put back in, and this upper one, and that takes care of that pretty much. And then I'm going to start working on the other little things that are wrong that I just mentioned. And I need to get some gas in it. I'm surprised we didn't run out. Okay, to put this back on, just slide it into place. There's one little clip that's you heard that click? That helps hold it on. You got a Phillips screw right there, and there are 2 more, one here and one here. Then you got 2 bolts just like this, one down here in this corner right there, and one over here at the very far corner to replace. And that's how you would remove and replace that piece right there. And then when it comes to replacing this piece of plastic here, this little bezel. Place that in there like so. And there we go. Alright, last thing we got to install is this bezel right here. There we go. That gets one Phillips screw right there. There we go. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this, learned something from it, and if you did, I sure appreciate the thumbs up. If you've never subscribed to me before, please hit that subscribe button right down there and subscribe, and that way you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. And I'll put some Amazon links in the description for products and tools we probably used here on the video. And you can do all your Amazon shopping through one of those links, and that helps out the channel. I sure appreciate that. I want to thank you again for watching, and I will see you on the next one.